Well, the film is about a documentary crew from a hipster media network that goes to Latin America looking for a trend that doesn't really exist anymore. So they decide to fake it with the help of the locals. And that's what the film is about. It's about the connections that they form with the people they're visiting. The background to the story is that the village is surrounded by plantations that are constantly being sprayed with Roundup and glyphosates, and that's something that some of my family was suffering from a few years ago. I mean, although it's an ongoing thing, obviously. But then the one thing that is really inspired my background is that both my parents are hipsters, Gen X are hipsters, and yeah, so I'm very influenced by that upbringing, and that reflects in the film. Yeah, my dad is very ugly though, so I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that Simon's character is based on him. He's not that charming, but yes, it's definitely inspired that sort of man. I think in Simon's case, I did share with him a documentary of Dove Charney from American Apparel, done in like 2005 or something, as one of the main reference for the character. So I think that's more of an inspiration. But yeah.
What she just said was she basically sent me videos of Dove from American Apparel and said, this is loosely based on this guy, fast talking, and my character in the movie is in the midst of getting canceled. And so I think I'm just, in that place, the whole movie where I'm in trouble. And I think that parallels something that Dove really went through, and as far as him being like the head of a company. So that was really all that she said. She goes, do your version of him. And that was enough to do it. And, we improv'd a lot, which is a lot of fun. I love doing that. These guys are all really good at improving. I'd say, I mean, God, you tell me, Amalia, what a good percentage of it was us riffing it, right? I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously always follow a script, but I like allowing the actors to really play on it, and if they have good ideas, sort of like go with the flow and allow them to like play with it. Just because I really like capturing like happy accidents. I think that's a big part of my filmmaking is doing that, and so I would say that like 95% of the film is scripted, and then like I allow for like this like flexibility, yeah, to let the actors play, which yeah, I think some of like you really enjoy the playing. Yeah.
Well, I had known about Amalia from around downtown Manhattan. She was kind of infamous as this like artist slash filmmaker, and I was kind of watching her from afar and her star rising. And I was asked to interview her for Filmmaker magazine by a mutual friend of ours, Scott McCauley, and we had this amazing conversation. And I just found her to be one of the brightest people I'd come across in a really long time, and I think she's influenced by so many different art forms, and people toss around esoteric, but she really does have very specific interests, and I was just really impressed with her as a person, and I loved El Planeta. I found it really inspiring and magical, and I thought she had a really unique voice, and so when she asked me to come on board for this, it was like basically yes without even reading it, just because I was so excited by her as an artist and as a filmmaker. And then I read it and I was like, oh, so I get to play the bitch. Like everybody else is so likable. And so I was like, I had to kind of
Yeah.
come to peace with that, and like know that like my character was bringing a little tension, a little drama through her kind of prickliness. And she was serving a certain, aspect of the story. And I do think, having to go through having your boyfriend, husband, partner, canceled, Me Too'd, whatever, is something that a lot of women actually I know have been through. And so I thought that was an interesting examination of the time and through this character.
Initially I'd spent almost a year playing Leonard Cohen, and I'd gotten into maybe a slightly self-serious habit with myself. Just as an actor, I kind of was like, all about the seriousness of acting, whatever. And when I got this script and I read the character, I felt like it was such a relief if I could really make fun of myself, and I think I owed it to everyone in my life who'd had enough of me at the time to just really humiliate myself in a visceral, profound way. So that was my first initial draw, was playing this character who is insufferable on a level that's so precisely drawn that it's hard to even read, and because it's so cringy, the things he says and the way he's crying about things, and he's this just melodramatic, narcissistic, and he kind of represents, I think, what's inside a lot of people, and including myself. And I think reading it, it felt like I was personally being criticized. So I really loved it, and I identify with that. But I think the other layer of that was he wasn't just the fall guy. He ended up forming this real romance with her, and I think it was beautiful on paper, but it wasn't until I really started acting with her that I saw that the romance maybe is a change in this character forever, that he meets this woman. And I think I didn't totally know that on the page, even though it was beautifully drawn. Her performance really kind of made me go like, whoa, this maybe there is a lot of depth to him. He's just been sort of he's gotten away with too much, and so he meets this woman who doesn't let him get away with anything. And I think it's really important. So I just fell in love with that dynamic. And then Amalia's first movie was brilliant and beautiful and odd, and I knew that no matter what, that this movie would have a clear vision. If nothing else, it would be really singular. And then obviously just, Chloe, I think for all of us, she sort of is the centerpiece of what's cool and what is elegant and what is funny, and both self-effacing but also confident. And I think, I grew up with kids, and I grew up with her making choices that were not just the normal movie star choices. Even though she is a bona fide movie star, she also did all these very experimental, weird films. And I think I've looked to her, and a lot of us have looked to her as sort of like what to do, because I think you get to a position where you read a lot of stuff and you see a lot of stuff, and you want to do the cool thing, you want to make money, you want to be famous, you want to do all these things. That's kind of what the movie's about. So I thought it was really fitting that we had Chloe, who has never compromised in my eyes. So then it's great that she plays this person who's all compromise. And I loved it. I felt really lucky to be in this movie. It's one I feel strongly about.
For me, it was a challenge, this paper, because I don't speak English, and I feel very comfortable with all the team. Alex was a really kind partner, so it was very natural, I think, the connection. Maybe, Amalia, can you help me?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yes.
No,
¿Qué quieres decir?
que,
You were saying that I was the best person you could have ever imagined to work with. I
and
think that's
love
what she
you,
was saying.
No, que fue, para mí fue muy cómodo desde un principio. Alex me hizo sentir muy cómoda, y fue una dinámica medio de amistad que se armó fuera del set, y en pantalla fue natural.
She's showing off her Spanish skills.
Yeah, she's saying that she always felt very comfortable with everyone, but definitely like becoming friends with Alex off camera really helped her, like feeling very comfortable when playing that role. And yeah, and I seeing it as a director, it was fascinating to see her acting, because she's really good in it, but I feel like the American crew is somewhat unserious, and it's mostly her character that brings this like reality check, to like the film, because there's like certain moments throughout the film where like we see her emotions, and it's like so heartbreaking and so real that it sort of brings you down to like the actual problems in the village. And I think she carried like all of that like herself, and it was really good, and it was amazing to see it. Yeah.
And te Sí, puedes decir que vos nos diste mucha libertad y que también fue algo muy del momento, todo lo que no fue tan pautado, sino que nos diste la libertad para...
Yeah, that she's saying that I gave them a lot of freedom, and that allowed her also to like experiment a bit more with her character and not feel contrived, and that was helpful.
What's interesting about this is that
Yeah, we hate each other. We're really good
No,
actors.
no. Amalia reached out to me shortly before El Planeta premiered at Sundance in 2021. I guess she followed me on Instagram, and she was like, "You're really funny. I'm writing something new. You should watch my movie. But we should hang out and talk and about this next project," which ended up being Magic Farm. So I've been like kind of attached to it kind of for years, but we became really, really close
Yeah,
friends
because we sort of
throughout all of
started
it. Yeah.
working on it together. I
Yeah,
remember.
I gave her-
Everyone in New
Yeah.
York thought they were a couple.
I know.
Oh my god, that
I
was the
know.
funniest thing. Yeah,
I actually
yeah.
invited them to a party I was hosting as a couple.
Yeah, everyone. Yeah.
So I
They
sort
were
of like.
together at the time. They were everywhere together.
Yeah, I know. Everyone thought we were dating.
Well, that was something that
Very
I
funny.
played with in the movie, in the
I
script.
know,
because
yeah.
at the time it was very funny because we went to Venice together. Obviously, we've never been involved together, but it was funny because
Wow, that was a cruel laugh. What? She's like, obviously we've never been together.
No,
Oh,
we've
God.
Amalia and I have never hooked up.
never. Not because he's ugly or unattractive. For other reasons.
But she's an amazing friend and director. So
No, but yeah, that was very funny. That because when we became friends, also that's when I separated, and a lot of people thought that it was because we were a couple, and that I had left my ex-husband for him, and everything. And I thought it was very funny because couldn't be farther from the truth. And so we play with that in the film because then the reception is also thinks that we're a couple, and it's only after a while that he realizes that he might have a chance.
But by the time that we had started shooting, we had been close friends for so long that I think our chemistry, just riffing and improvising, was just so natural and there. And yeah.
Thanks a lot.
So
You're the
much.
best.